Zoran Mamdani, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the
communist, not socialist, communist.
So what if Mamdani becomes mayor?
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
As New Yorkers pick their next mayor, it could shape up to be a battle royale between Washington and the Big Apple. President Trump doubling down and had more to say tonight.
He took to Truth Social just moments ago saying this, quote, Mamdani has no chance to bring it back to its former glory. We must also remember this, a vote for Curtis Sliwa, who looks much better without the beret, exclamation point, is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. Joining us live on set to react, Fox News contributor and former NYPD inspector Paul Mauro, the Federalist elections correspondent Brianna Lyman, and activist Zach Sage Fox. And he is the CEO of Fat Camp Films and works with Cuomo on social media campaigns. Great to see all of you. Paul, somebody said to me earlier today, we've said for almost 25 years, never forget, and we forgot.
Yeah, we used to say in the Intelligence Bureau where I worked that the further we get from 9/11, the closer we get to 9/10. And that seems to be the dynamic here. For a lot of people who are Mamdani's age or younger, 9/11 is something of a comic book. It's something that happened far, far away to different people that has nothing to do with them. But for a lot of us, it's still a date that redounds very heavily to today. And when I hear the possibility of federal funding being cut, my mind goes right there because we get a lot of federal funding in this town for counterterrorism operations. Units I were in dependent in many ways upon funds that were given by the DHS grants. That'll hit home.
What do you expect ultimately for the voters to do when they show up to vote? Zach, what do you think?
Well, I am praying that Republicans and independents rally for Cuomo. Really, that is our shot at saving New York City right now. And listen, I know Cuomo is not first on their list to be mayor, but I think they can agree that he is a moderate Democrat compared to a socialist, or as President Trump calls him, a communist. And honestly, this is the most power that Republicans have ever had in New York City. Is tonight through tomorrow. You guys can change the entire outcome of this election. And it is so important, not just for New York City, but this is going to send ripples turning into waves around the country and the world for the anti-Semites of the world, the anti-capitalists of the world, the people who hate America. This will be a victory for them, whether we want to admit it or not. And so, as Republicans with those values, I pray that you guys help do the right thing and walk across the aisle to elect Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent, and I hope we'll lead that way.
But Brianna, I've talked to a lot of people to at least understand why somebody would vote for Mamdani, and I'd boil it down to a hatred of the rich, a hatred. They want to blame somebody for how expensive it is to live here, and in essence, I don't know what Mamdani stands for other than figuratively just burning it all down.
Yeah, I think it's threefold. I think there are a few people with genuine Marxist convictions who actually like Marxism, socialism, communism. They're voting for Mamdani. I think you then have people who have no idea what any of those things are, but they hear, oh, lower cost, free buses. That sounds good, right? And I think right now we're having this conversation nationwide about SNAP. People are complaining that the government is not giving them money to buy food. That is socialism right there. You don't like it, but you want it in New York City. I think the last point is people, unfortunately, are just going out because he's a slick-talking politician. And we're talking about Curtis Sliwa and Andrew Cuomo. Look, Curtis can siphon votes away from Cuomo. At the end of the day, even if Cuomo was to win tomorrow based on nostalgia and name recognition, he is not governing a base that he is used to. This is a much more organized and radical base that Cuomo is not one of them, and he has never governed people of that, particular ideology in such a small, demographic.
That's why I think he would, though, lead more as an independent. I think he would be leading as a center-left Democrat. And I'm coming from within the campaign, too. I really believe he's going to be a mayor for all New Yorkers. I think he's aware of what you just said as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think he should necessarily try to appease the radical base of the Democratic Party. Look, the entire country shifted right this past election. There was no mandate for any Democrats in leadership to go out and endorse Mamdani, and yet they've done that. And it's because they know that the Democratic base is shifting left, and they are becoming the party of openly Marxist.
What we're going to see right now is the opposition between socialism and capitalism. And you talked about funds being withheld. And when people realize in New York City, the ones particularly that aren't really sure why they're voting for him, find out that certain services are going to be withheld or certain funds are going to be withheld, what's going to be the reaction in New York City?
You know, I can't believe that they don't have the wit to understand that if they vote for what you're talking about, it's going to occur. He's not being very coy about what he's promising to do. I think the problem I think that a lot of the younger demographic who are going to vote for him don't quite perceive is the fact that this guy's agenda tracks a lot closer to Beijing than it does to Washington, D.C. And I find it no accident that, in fact, he went over the top thanks to TikTok. He came out of nowhere in about a week. Nobody had heard of the guy. All of a sudden, he was the front runner. And now we start to hear from various think tanks and studies, something I've been saying from the beginning, which is that algorithm was gamed to his benefit. My point is that I think a lot of them was sold a bill of goods. They don't quite realize what they're getting into, but it looked good on TikTok. And we got to him too late, the oppo, for lack of a better term. The opposition research. It came out too close to the election. That's why now his numbers are dropping. If we had another month, I actually don't think he'd be the favorite anymore. But the timing was quite slick. I think we're going to find out the hard way, as we found out in the past. But let's just remember something. This is a town that put Bill de Blasio in twice.
Right. So are the violent criminals that he'll let out of Rikers become his Red Army?
You know, what people don't realize is that baked into the cake, thanks to the de Blasio administration, is that we're going to go down by at least 30%, maybe more, in jail beds. That has nothing to do with bail reform. They instituted that when they closed Rikers. Rikers is being defunded now. They're going to go to the borough-based jails. The reason that matters is that is a hard metric. You can change everything you want. In Albany, you can finally change the laws up there, which, you know, good luck with it. Even if you do, there's no place to put the bad guys. We're going to go down. We don't lock up anybody now. Take it down 30%. Imagine what that's going to look like.
Right. It's the bad guys will keep the plebes and the proles in line. Paul, great to see you. Thank you so much. Brianna Lyman and Zach Sage Fox, all three of you.